This is Dr. Mark Trexler with the Climate Countdown, exploring why carbon offsets have been such a tricky way to help mitigate climate change. Offsets have been a popular but contentious way for individuals and organizations to reduce, in net terms, their carbon footprint. But you'll rarely hear why offsets are as contentious as they are. As it turns out, it has relatively little to do with the idea of offsets and everything to do with how they're being implemented. First, a quick recap. A carbon offset neutralizes the climate change impact of emitting a ton of carbon dioxide in one place by avoiding the emission of or removing from the atmosphere a ton of carbon dioxide somewhere else. But, and it's a big but, that somewhere else ton has to be additional to what would have happened without the offset market. Many billions of tons of carbon dioxide emissions are avoided every year, and even more are removed from the atmosphere every year for reasons having nothing to do with carbon offset markets. Those happening anyway tons can't serve as offsets because they're not additional. Letting them into the market quickly undermines the environmental integrity of the market. But here's the rub. How do you tell the difference between a tree that was planted for typical reasons and a tree that's planted for carbon offsets? Or between a typical windmill and a windmill put up to generate carbon offsets? The offset community talks a lot about testing projects for additionality, but it's not like getting tested for COVID-19. You can't simply ask the person planting the tree or putting up the windmill, "Why are you doing this project?" Since if money is involved, you can't trust their answer. And we can't read their minds. So someone has to decide, quite subjectively, why that tree was planted or that windmill erected, and whether it should qualify as a carbon offset. And for obvious reasons, they'll get it wrong some of the time, approving some illegitimate tons as offsets and disallowing some tons that should have been approved. But here's the thing. By some estimates, more than 50% of offsets being sold today may be illegitimate. Could the process really have gone so wrong, leading to so many fake offsets? Analogizing to criminal trials can help answer the question. Setting aside DNA evidence, there is no way to test for a defendant's guilt or innocence. Juries hear from the prosecution and the defense and ultimately make a decision. Because juries are fallible, we know that some guilty people will be found innocent and some innocent people found guilty. But hopefully the juries will get it right most of the time. Now imagine a criminal trial in which only the defense puts on a case, and the jury has a financial interest in acquitting the defendant. Suddenly, you would have a lot of guilty people going free. That's in effect what's happening with the process for approving offsets. There is no prosecutor or the equivalent of a prosecutor in the room. Only project proponents put on a case, and since they control the information flow, they have a big advantage. If that weren't enough, the evaluators making the final decision have a financial interest in getting a lot of offsets into the market. Looked at this way, it should not be at all surprising that a lot of fake offsets are finding their way into carbon offset markets, resulting in repeated front-page exposés and undermining what could be a useful tool for mitigating climate change. This is Mark Trexler with the Climate Countdown. Dig deeper into this and other Climate Countdown topics at our website, climatecountdown.climatesites.net. And thanks for listening.